Hey guys, it's Michelle. Okay, so, Michelle Slays. So basically, without further ado, because I know it was overdue and I said I would give it to you guys. Sorry, excuse my hair, it's all messy. But anyway, um, without further ado, here is the story time that you guys have been waiting for. Sorry, it's been a little while. I've been in and out of the hospital. I'll explain everything. So here we go with the story time of the gastrologist and why I said I needed to say some things. Okay, so basically my gastrologist, I've had him since 2018, since I moved back to New York, and he's been my same gastro doctor, all that time. Don't be commenting on my pink sweater. I'm home. I like my pink hoodie. Okay. Don't go there. Anyway, so it was back in August, 2021, and they called me to schedule me for my colonoscopy. I canceled, and they needed to do an otoscope. I canceled that too, and I told them I need to reschedule because August 22nd, 2021. I lost my husband due to COVID. He died of COVID, and I was very emotional. I just lost my husband, and I didn't want to deal with trying to, go keep a doctor's appointment, okay? I told them I'd have to reschedule. They just hung up the phone, didn't say anything. So I get a phone call in September from the hospital, because I go to the hospital to get my infusions for the colitis, ulcerative colitis, and I get infusions every 2 months for it. So they called me to schedule for an appointment. So I thought everything was cool, hey, they're just probably just waiting on me to call them back to reschedule my appointment because I haven't heard back from them. So I go to the infusion. So the last infusion I had was in October 2021. And so 2 months after that would have put me in January. So January is when I needed my next infusion, okay? So I was fine then, still didn't hear back from my gastro doctor by then. January rolls around, I'm starting to feel symptoms towards the ends of January. I want to say around January 15th or so, I started feeling colitis symptoms. Like I was using the bathroom more frequently, I was having diarrhea, I was bleeding all the time. Like it was just, my lower left abdomen started hurting really bad, and everything burned on the way out. It was just awful. So I called back the gastrologist, and I'm like, hey, I need to set an appointment because I'm due for my next infusion. And they're like, well, you're no longer a patient. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean I'm no longer a patient? And they're like, you're no longer a patient. And I'm like, why am I no longer a patient? And why didn't you give me a letter or anything, or give me a recommendation to someone else if you dropped me as a patient? And then they were like, the lady on the phone was obnoxious and rude, and she was just like, well, you're not a patient and there's nothing I can do about it. And she hung up the phone. And I'm like, this B, okay? So October 25th, I went into the hospital with my colitis issues, okay? Now I had COVID back in September, the first time around, because like I said, I went to a wedding and I got sick from certain, just other people at the wedding who had COVID and spread it to other people. So pretty much anybody who went to that wedding had COVID, and I was one of them. So that was back the end of September. Now, when I go into the hospital on January 25th, 2022, they're like, yeah, so you're going to have to get admitted to the hospital because you have a really bad colitis flare. We're going to put you on steroids. And I'm like, do not put me on prednisone. And they're like, we're not going to put you on prednisone. We're going to give you something else. And hopefully it'll help and you won't have an increased appetite like you do when you're on prednisone. I'm like, thank you. So they're like, we're going to have to test you for COVID because that's just protocol. Anybody getting admitted to the hospital has to be tested for COVID. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. No big deal. They give me the nose swab. She comes back like an hour and a half later and she's like, you have COVID. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean I have COVID? And she goes, you have COVID. I'm like, I have COVID again? And she's like, well, when was the first time you had COVID? I was like, September, the end of September. And she's like, well, you have COVID again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I knew it was my neighbor who got me sick. Don't even get me started on that. Anyways, so they put me in a quarantine room. So I was on the COVID floor of the hospital. And I was on steroids, and they gave me, and I started that night, I started getting chills really bad. Like I was shaking really bad because, you know, that was like one of the symptoms of COVID. And at the time they tested me, I didn't have any symptoms. But then that night when I was up on the floor in my room, I started getting chills. So then the nurse came in and she goes, we just ordered you a COVID infusion. And I'm like, well, what's in it? You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to take none. They're not going to tell me what's in it. So she told me there was zinc in there. There was iron in there. Vitamin C, elderberry. What else was in there? Potassium, you know, like all the normal electrolytes and stuff like that. Sodium, you know, stuff like that. Magnesium, potassium, calcium, stuff like that. So they gave me the infusion, and I am not kidding, guys. Like, as soon as I got that infusion, I'm not even lying to you, an hour later, all my chills stopped. I had a really bad headache the next day, but at that point I was like, I'll take the headache. Gave me some Tylenol. So the nurse gave me Tylenol. But I'm telling you, all my COVID symptoms stopped, like instantly stopped as soon as they gave me that infusion. The next day I was feeling like back to myself again. That was like incredible. So I don't know what is all the stuff that's in the COVID infusion, but it works. So I was there. They treated me for 3 days at the hospital. So I got out of the hospital January 28th, 2022. And then they put me on prednisone. You saw my eyes. They put me on prednisone to taper me off the steroids. Now, mind you, it was like one of those, you know, those little, it was like one of those blister packs, you know, where you're tapering down, where you got to take 6 one day, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Yeah, that's what I had to do with the prednisone pills. I was fine when I got home. I was still bleeding and stuff like that, but nothing was burning like how it was when I first went in. So I was grateful for that. I kid you not, the day that I took that last pill, the next day, my symptoms came back. Like, I'm not kidding you. I went back into the hospital February 8th, 2022. And I stayed in the hospital until February 16th. So I was in the hospital a whole 8 days from February 8th, okay? Now, while I was in the hospital, here's the thing that about the gastro doctor, okay? The gastro doctor that was no longer my gastro doctor went to the hospital and saw me personally. And I looked at him. I was shocked. I was like, what are you doing here? And then he was like, hey, I heard you were in the hospital. The GI team here at the hospital got a hold of me because you told them that I was your gastroenterologist. And I was like, yes, you were. And then he goes, first of all, I am so sorry that happened to you, because the person that's responsible for deleting you as my patient is no longer working for us. They were getting fired anyway for something that they did that day. And you weren't the only one that was deleted from the system. They deleted at least 4 or 5 other patients, and we've been trying to reach out to those patients to extend our apology, to try to get them to come back. And so I'm at your bedside right now. I know you're in pain. I know you're in the hospital, but please give me a chance. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And can you please let me be your enterologist again? Because you're a good patient. You listen to what I have to say. I explain things to you that make sense to you. You ask like amazing questions, and I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And I wanted to send an apology. I'm so sorry that your husband died of COVID. It's awful, because I'm sorry. I'm trying not to cry, guys. He was like my best friend, you know. It's really hard. It still is. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, don't do this. Okay, don't do this. Sorry. it's rough, you know? It's rough. It's rough. So the doctor, I took him back as my gastrologist. So he's now my gastroenterologist again. Yay. I guess that's a plus. So he bent over backwards to bring me back as a patient. As soon as I got out of the hospital, which I got out of the hospital on February 16th, I saw him. When did I see him? I know it was it was Monday. Yeah. It was Monday I saw him. This past Monday I saw him. And he so far has lived up to what he said. So my first infusion for my ulcerative colitis will be March 2nd. So I got to do that. And then the second infusion will be March 16th, exactly 14 days after that. And then he said that after the second infusion, I'll start feeling better again and not be so frequent using the bathroom and stuff like that. So, I mean, the bleeding stopped only because right now I'm still on steroids and I'm not on prednisone, but he's going to put me on prednisone to taper me off. So I'm like, you know, but I'll suck it up. I'll do what I need to do, you know, just so I don't have to be on steroids anymore and I can be on my infusion and back in remission from the ulcerative colitis, and then I can focus on my surgery. Now, speaking of surgery, so basically that is my story time, guys. That's literally my story time. That's what happened to me. I was so angry, but then I realized that it wasn't even his fault. Like, it was whoever the person was that was getting fired. Like, they just screwed over like 5 or 6 patients. And I just happened to be one of them. And it just happened to be around the time that I needed my infusion. Interesting. So that's the story time, guys. So now you know. Now, as far as my weight loss goes, when I went to my gastroenterologist, they weighed me. And I was so excited because I'm down 7 pounds again. Another 7, so that's 14. I'm down 14 pounds, you guys. My surgeon said I needed to lose 25. So I'm almost there. I'm at 14 pounds down. So yay! Slowly but surely. I met with the nutritionist through Zoom. She actually saw me at when I was in the hospital on the 15th. So I was like in the hospital. I'm like, hey, I'm in the hospital. She's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, it's my ulcerative colitis, no big deal. She was like, oh, okay. Well, I hope you get out soon. You know, we were just chit-chatting. And then she said, and I told her about, hey, you know, what is the best way to lose weight? Because I got to be down 25 pounds for the surgery. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, in the morning, swap out, instead of eating breakfast, swap out and just drink a protein shake of your choice. Let that be your breakfast. And I was like, oh, that works out because I don't really eat breakfast anyway. So I'm like, okay, that's no big deal. I can always just, as soon as I wake up, chug a energy drink or something. I mean, not an energy, protein shake. That's what I meant to say. I said energy, my bad. So yeah, I told her that's what I would do. And then we were talking and she was like, how much soda do you drink? And I'm like, girl, I love me some Pepsi, okay? But I don't like the regular Pepsi. I like Diet Pepsi. And she goes, that's good and bad. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, number one, it's good because you're not drinking a whole bunch of sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I'm like, yeah. And then she goes, but it's bad because you can't have carbonated beverages once you get the sleeve for at least a while, at least a year, until you're fully healed and a few sips at a time. And I'm like, got you. But I told her, I said, you know, it's fine because I'm just going to cut ties with soda altogether because, you know, I mean, I want to live my life and I want to be healthy, you know, and that's what this journey's about. You know, it's not, yeah, see, if I get skinny, I get skinny. But at the same time, it's like, I want to focus on my health more. I'd rather be healthy, not have to deal with joint pain, not have to deal with arthritis pain in my knees, not have to deal with arthritis in my left foot, not have to deal with like huffing and puffing, wheezing, just walking to like a car or like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm dealing with right now, you know, and just, it's a lot, you know, I'm on 2 inhalers now It's like, I don't know if it's because of COVID made my asthma worse. I don't know. But like now I'm on 2 inhalers, guys. Like I'm on the emergency one. And then I'm on the one that's like a pill, but you like crush it and then you like you suck in the inhaler from like the crushed pill. Like I'm on that one too, now, So it's like I'm just over it, guys. Like I'm over it. So also with my gastroenterologist, I told him about how I took his advice, and because my gastroenterologist was the one that referred me to my surgeon, Dr. Kim. And I told him, hey, thanks to you, I'm going to go through with the surgery. He's like, oh, great, that's wonderful. And then I said, but he needs an endoscope. And then he goes, yeah, I could do that for you, and I can send it to him. I'm like, sweet. He's like, because you're due for a colonoscopy anyway. He's like, so I'll just do an upper and a lower. I'm like, sweet. So it's like 2 birds, 1 stone, So I'm happy. I got my gastroenterologist back. We're good. Things are going good. As far as the weight loss, after talking to the nutritionist, she said, okay, so I have to meet with my Dr. Kim, in March. So I meet with him on the 15th of March, and then, I meet with the nutritionist again in April, and then I'll meet with the surgeon one more time, and then I'm all set. 3 more appointments, guys. 3 more appointments. Yay. So the surgeon is thinking maybe June or July that I'll get the surgery. I'm ready for it, guys. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. I'm not scared anymore. I'm at peace about it. I know it's the right thing to do. And I'm not taking this as, oh, guys, this is the easy way out. Because let me tell you, it's not. All the steps that we have to go through in order to get the surgery, this is not easy at all, okay? It's not easy to be on a liquid diet. It's not easy to only be able to just drink liquids or clear liquids for 2 weeks before you even get the surgery, and then be on the clear liquids after surgery, okay? That's not easy. It's not easy to go to all these doctor's appointments, get all these checkups, get your blood tested, all this stuff. This is not easy. And I will be the first to say it, guys, because I was one of those people. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was one of those people that used to say, oh, getting weight loss surgery is the easy way out. They're not really doing nothing, But you know what? I realized how ignorant I was. And here I am right now in this situation, about to get weight loss surgery, and I'm like, it's not easy. But guess what? You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength, and that's Philippians 4:13. That's my favorite scripture verse. And it's been proven true and true. Every time. Every time. You can do all things. As long as you got God on your side, as long as you have Christ with you, and you put Christ before you, and let Christ bear the things that you go through, you can accomplish anything. I mean that, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all preachy, but it was on my heart, and I felt I needed to share it. So, guys, on that note, that's the end of story time. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe. Again, let me know some ideas, like what you guys are thinking about, like a channel name for my channel for the weight loss surgery sleeve. All right, so I'll be in touch. I promise I didn't desert you guys. Just I've been in and out of the hospital, and I've been going to appointments, so I've been kind of like, yeah, But that's the latest update on me. So I will talk to you guys soon, and I will definitely read your comments. Thank you to everyone that subscribe. Thank you for everyone that put on the notification bell so you know when I post again and you get alerted and following my journey. I appreciate every single one of you subscribers. Thank you so much. God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you soon, okay? All right, take care.